2026 is about to break the movie industry with the most stacked action lineup in cinema history. We're talking franchise sequels, explosive new IPs, and blockbusters that could redefine what action movies can do. Today, we're counting down the epic action movies hitting 2026 that will dominate the box office. War Machine.
No firearms. We need to move. Not about us anymore.
Elite military recruits endure the final brutal days of special ops training when an otherworldly force attacks the base, turning a routine exercise into a fight for survival. The recruits discover discipline and firepower mean nothing when facing an enemy that defies every tactical manual. Cut off from command and outmatched by technology they don't understand, the soldiers must adapt faster than military protocol allows. The film blends military realism with science fiction horror, creating a genre mashup that could attract both action fans and sci-fi audiences. This feels like Edge of Tomorrow meets Full Metal Jacket, which could either be brilliant or a complete mess depending on how seriously the film takes itself.
About us anymore. It's a warning, buddy, that thing's coming. Rangers, lead the way! All the way! You gotta be shitting me.
The Bride. Chicago Frankenstein's creature asks Dr. Euphronius to help create a companion, bringing a murdered woman back to life as the bride. What follows is a combustible romance that ignites chaos, police attention, and radical social change as their wild love challenges everything around them. The film reimagines the classic monster story as a gothic action romance with the bride discovering her own agency and power beyond being merely a creation. The 1930s setting allows for period action sequences mixing gangster-era violence with supernatural horror elements. Jessie Buckley stars as the bride, with the film directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, marking her second directorial feature after The Lost Daughter.
Let's do it. You think I've got a problem? You're a sick
A grieving adrenaline junkie ventures into the wild Australian wilderness to test her limits, only to find herself hunted in a deadly game of cat and mouse. The Netflix survival thriller follows her as she battles both nature's dangers and a ruthless predator. But it gets worse. She discovers the hunt is being broadcast to wealthy viewers who bet on her survival, turning personal grief into entertainment for the elite. The Australian outback provides a harsh, unforgiving backdrop where extreme heat, limited water, and dangerous wildlife compound the human threat. This is basically the most dangerous game meets surviving the game, which have both been done to death. The Australian setting is the only fresh element. Peaky Blinders.
Tommy, you've got to come back.
Set in Birmingham in 1940 amid World War II, Tommy Shelby is pulled back from self-imposed exile to face his most destructive reckoning yet. With the future of his family and country at stake, the gangster must confront old enemies and his own demons. The film transitions the beloved BBC series to theatrical release, promising the violent operatic style fans know with a wartime backdrop that raises the stakes beyond gang warfare. The bombing of Birmingham during the Blitz provides a chaotic setting where Tommy must navigate both Nazi threats and local criminal rivals. Cillian Murphy returns as Tommy Shelby, with Stephen Knight writing and directing the theatrical conclusion to the series that ran for 6 seasons from 2013 to 2022. How to Make a Killing.
I wonder who's next. If I were you, I might be nervous. Until then...
A desperate man is drawn into a dangerous scheme targeting 7 wealthy heirs standing between him and $28 billion. As plans unravel, lies, greed, and betrayal collide, forcing ruthless choices. With every move raising the stakes, survival depends on outsmarting allies and enemies before the final mistake turns deadly. But it gets crazier. Each death must look like an accident, requiring increasingly elaborate and creative methods that push the protagonist deeper into moral compromise. compromise. The film plays like a darkly comedic thriller where financial desperation creates a monster out of an ordinary person. This sounds like a Knives Out ripoff, but with a body count instead of mystery. The dark comedy angle could work, or fall completely flat. Street Fighter. Legendary fighters from around the world are drawn into a high-stakes global tournament where honor, rivalry, and survival collide in brutal combat. Ryu and Ken reunite as old grudges reignite and new warriors rise, forcing each fighter to overcome personal demons. The tournament structure allows for the iconic matchups fans have waited decades to see done properly on screen, with practical martial arts choreography prioritized over CGI spectacle. Each fighter brings their signature moves and fighting styles directly from the games, with Hadokens, Shoryukens, and spinning kicks captured through wire work and practical effects. Video game adaptations have a terrible track record, and Street Fighter already has 2 failed live-action attempts. The odds of this working are astronomically low, despite Capcom's involvement. Project Hail Mary.
I'm Grace. I'm gonna call you Rocky. Thumbs up. No, that's thumbs down. You would do the thumbs up. It's close enough.
Alone on a spaceship, scientist Ryland Grace awakens with no memory of his mission as Earth faces extinction from a star-eating organism. Grace must rely on ingenuity, courage, and an unlikely alien ally to save humanity, unravel cosmic mysteries, and confront impossible odds in a race against time. The adaptation of Andy Weir's novel follows the same author who gave us The Martian, promising hard science fiction mixed with action and genuine stakes. The story balances scientific problem-solving with emotional character work as Grace slowly remembers why humanity sent him on this desperate mission. Ryan Gosling stars as Ryland Grace, with Phil Lord and Christopher Miller directing, marking their first live-action film since 2014's 22 Jump Street.
Approaching.
Oh my God.
So, I met an alien. He's kind of growing on me. At least he's not growing in me, you know, which was a concern for a little while.
You two may have started the night minimum wage guards, but you're a green light T now.
That is a nuke. What, nuts?
No, I'm ambitious.
That's not natural.
When a deadly fungus escapes a forgotten government storage facility, a mismatched group must contain it before it spreads beyond control. As the organism grows smarter and more lethal, time runs out. Trapped underground, survival depends on science, courage, and stopping the threat before it reaches the surface. The biological horror action thriller combines claustrophobic tension with creature feature elements. As the fungus mutates and adapts to every containment attempt, the survivors realize the government has been hiding this threat for decades, and their protocols are completely inadequate for the evolved strain. This feels like a ripoff of The Last of Us fungal horror, but without the emotional character work that made that property successful.
Fucking deer just took the fucking elevator.
You two may have started the night.
You need to make sure you shoot him in the head.
Face returns with a brutal new killing spree, dragging survivors back into a nightmare they can't escape. As past trauma resurfaces and new targets emerge, secrets are exposed and trust is tested, with the rules rewritten head on before the final scream echoes. The 7th installment attempts to revitalize the franchise by bringing back legacy characters while introducing new victims for the iconic masked killer. The meta commentary on horror reboots and legacy sequels promises to be even more biting this time, as the franchise itself becomes part of the critique. Neve Campbell returns as Sidney Prescott after skipping Scream 6 due to salary disputes, reportedly securing a significantly higher payday.
fighter, like you. If you hurt her,
I'm not going to hurt her until you're here to see it.
let's mask this fucker.
All your friends died for just being near you.
I have mine.
King Baku of Wakanda.
Then, Yancey Street, between Broome and Grand.
The Avengers face their greatest threat yet as a cosmic villain known as Doomsday rises threatening Earth's destruction. Heroes old and new must unite, overcome personal conflicts, and push their limits to stop an unstoppable force before the planet is annihilated. The fifth Avengers film in the MCU, directed by the Russo brothers, brings back the team for a multiversal event that could either save or doom the entire franchise. The stakes escalate beyond anything seen in Endgame as reality itself becomes unstable and the multiverse collapses, forcing impossible choices about which timelines deserve to survive. The MCU has struggled post-Endgame with diminishing returns, and bringing back the Russo brothers feels desperate. The Stranger Chapter 3. The Mask Killers return to finish what they started in the relentless nightmare continuation. Trapped by fear and isolation, the survivors are pushed to their limits, while the strangers' motives remain terrifyingly unknown. Terror can strike anywhere, anytime, as the franchise concludes its trilogy with the horror escalating beyond random violence into something more calculated. The final chapter promises to reveal why the strangers target their victims and what drives their methodical cruelty, though the mystery has been the franchise's strongest element. This marks the final installment in the rebooted trilogy that began with Chapter 1 in 2024, with all three films shot back-to-back in Slovakia over a continuous production period.